Hi there, this is Hilary Lambert. I'm Executive Director / Steward of the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network, and we're real excited to talk to you today about what we do. You can see in this slide, we've been protecting Cayuga Lake and its creeks and getting the public involved to care and help with our work since 1998. And I'm gonna talk first with some slides about what we've been doing and focus a little bit on what we did in the amazing pandemic year of 2020. And then I'll be followed by our staff, Jenn Tufano, and our two wonderful board members / volunteers, Nancy and Ed Currier, who will talk to you about the Lake Friendly Living program. The mission statement of the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network is we identify key threats to Cayuga Lake and its watershed, and we advocate for solutions that support a healthy environment and vibrant, sustainable communities. We're going to change that a little bit in the coming months to emphasize climate change in the future, which I think is well represented here by the young people in the photo. Here's a beautiful map of the Cayuga Lake watershed. All of the various greens that you see there are the different creeks that drain to the lake. The Cayuga Lake watershed just means all the land that drains to the lake, plus the lake itself, but that's big. That's 870 square miles total, and it includes 37 major creeks and hundreds of short, straight streams. And that map was made for us by one of our partners, the Community Science Institute in Ithaca, and you'll be hearing a bit more about them as I talk. The motto of our organization is it takes a network to protect a watershed, and that includes you. You're part of the network of people and who help to take care of Cayuga Lake. But our task is complicated a little bit because look at how people have divided up the watershed. There's about 50 municipalities, that's the one city of Ithaca, towns and villages in this 870 square miles of natural drainage. The three major shoreline counties, as you can see, are Tompkins at the south end, Seneca County along most of the West Shore, and Cayuga County along a big chunk of the east shore of the lake. But while most of the creeks are in these three counties, some of their little headwater streams begin their downhill journey to the lake. As you can see, if you follow like over and see that parts of Fall Creek there are in Cortland County, a little bit of the southern streams are in Cayuga, and you can see a little bit of the Seneca Cayuga Canal stretches into Ontario County. So we span a wide area, and it's a challenge to get everybody in all of these places to work together to protect the lake that's at the center of our lives. And this is just a couple of beautiful photographs by Bill Hecht of Cayuga Lake in different moods. And what I want to focus on here for the next few minutes, and I promise that there'll be a lot more pictures and not too many wordy slides like this, are what we've been doing over the last year of 2020 and into 2021 and where we're headed. So we do aquatic invasive species monitoring and reporting. We're especially focused on Hydrilla, as you will see. Water chestnut has become an issue, starry stonewort, and we work with the Finger Lakes Institute and Finger Lakes Prism in Geneva. We do a lot of water quality monitoring on creeks around the lake. We've been working with the Community Science Institute for a number of years now to do this work. They train our volunteers, and all of the data collected is available at their website. More recently, we've been working with the Upstate Freshwater Institute and SUNY ESF in Syracuse. We have been really focused since 2017 on the rising problem of harmful algal blooms during the summer months on Cayuga Lake. We help with monitoring and reporting to the public, again, working in team with the Community Science Institute, Discover Cayuga Lake, and a lot of other people and entities. And our public outreach program begins in early July. Our 2021 strategic plan, we're really proud of this. We did this work over the last year. We are focused now on how climate change will affect our watershed, it already is, and how we as an organization and you as residents and visitors can prepare and respond. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about two wonderful projects that came to fruition during that difficult year. Lakeside living in a changing climate and watershed living in a changing climate. These are handbooks for everyone to use at our website. They are part of the larger region-wide program that our amazing friends and volunteers and staff developed over the last year, Lake Friendly Living. And that information about that will follow my presentation here. So I'm just going to talk to you briefly about a few of the things on that list. We've been working to locate, control, and eradicate Hydrilla on Cayuga Lake. It's an invasive species. That's our Hydrilla Hunters logo there that we developed to get volunteers involved. In the center there, you see our staffer Jen with intern Carly putting up information boxes at marinas around the lake. Down in the lower left, you see one of the many meetings. They're all online via Zoom right now of people working together around the lake to try to control this challenging invasive. And thanks to volunteers like Dave Heck, we've got a lot of people with their eyes looking for Hydrilla, paddling and doing lake raking around Cayuga Lake. And the potential for spread of Hydrilla from little Cayuga Lake there is very, very significant and worrisome. We're the only lake, Cayuga Lake, we're the only Finger Lake to be lucky enough to have Hydrilla, and we want to make sure it doesn't go any further. And on the right there, you see the really great new poster developed by the Finger Lakes Prism to alert people to the problem that Hydrilla poses to our waterways. I think there's going to be some billboards of that this summer, so watch for it. And for the next 5 years, we've got now a Cayuga Lake Hydrilla management plan developed by New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and the folks at the Finger Lakes Institute. And Cayuga Lake Watershed Network will continue to be doing the public outreach and information to people about this, and other members of our team that have been working on this since 2011 will also continue to participate. So on to water quality monitoring on our creeks. Our network sponsors 3 creek monitoring groups, volunteers trained by the Community Science Institute, and they are people taking regular water testing, doing water testing on Milliken Creek in Lansing, Yager and Great Gully Creeks in the Union Springs area on the East Shore, and Cayuga and Burroughs Creeks along the Northwest Shore. And these groups were formed because local residents were concerned about the quality of the water in their creeks and wanted to start to develop long-term database so that once we can determine what the water quality problems are, maybe something can be done working with state authorities to do something about it. These photos are the group taking samples along Milliken Creek in Lansing. We're concerned about the coal ash waste landfill from the power plant there and if it's impacting the lake. And here's just sort of a map for you again on that watershed map showing where the three groups are focused. Keep in mind that we are just three little groups looking at these creeks as part of a big, amazing team that does water quality testing all around the south end of the lake, all of the creeks, and also in the Seneca Lake drainage and elsewhere. And in 2021, our group is partnering with SUNY ESF and the Upstate Freshwater Institute in Syracuse to do a microbial source study where they are going to be analyzing bacteria from water samples to determine who is the source of excess nutrient runoff to the lake. Is it birds? Is it cattle? Is it faulty septic systems? This study, with water collected by our volunteers at 9 creeks around the Seneca and Cayuga County shorelines, will start to answer that question. And then we've got harmful algal blooms, which were not a problem in Cayuga Lake on a big scale until 2017. This photo here in the lower left is that shocking weekend in July of 2017 when large swaths of the south end of Cayuga Lake turned bright green. And while we don't know the answers yet to what triggers harmful algal blooms or cyanobacteria blooms, we have some clues. We know it's got something to do with warming climate. It's got something to do with excess nutrients, especially phosphorus and nitrogen, coming off the land. And there are other factors in play. Scientists and trained Cayuga Lake volunteers are working to track and document the program so that we can get a handle on this, and we hope stop it. And our staff works with the Community Science Institute to help keep the public informed and safe, because some of these blooms are highly toxic. And we had wonderful Cayuga Lake interns in 2020 who helped with this work. They are, trust me here, they are safely socially distanced. This photo was taken in June of 2020 on the lake in Aurora. And masks are not seen at that moment, but they were very nearby. And so Sophia Waltzer on the left was our 2020 HABS communications intern. So she worked with us and the Community Science Institute to let the public know on a weekly basis about where harmful algal blooms were around Cayuga Lake and how to deal with them and what places to avoid if people wanted to go picnicking and swimming. Madeline Zimick was the 2020 harmful algal blooms intern for the Community Science Institute. So she was part of our team. And on the right, Abby Yatsko worked with our board member, John Abel, to develop a climate change handbook, Lakeside Living in a Changing Climate. And it's available at our website, along with the Lake Friendly Living program developed region-wide during 2020, and that we'll talk about more in the following presentations. And boy, those interns, they are so smart, and they're way ahead of us in terms of knowledge of many things. And we really look forward to working with wonderful interns again in 2021. Now, the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network was very productive during the pandemic year, and we're benefiting from that work during 2021. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the Changing Climate Handbook series, begun last year with Lakeside Living, will be joined in 2021 by Watershed Living in a Changing Climate. These are approximate titles for what's coming. And a Cayuga Lake Watershed Resources for Youth in a Changing Climate. We're looking forward to our interns helping make great successes of these forthcoming publications. They'll be available in print and at our website. And they're companion pieces for the Lake Friendly Living Program, which was developed during 2020. And there's much more to come about the Lake Friendly Living Program in our next presentations. You'll see this slide again. You'll find information about it online at our website. And to finish up, our other major achievement during 2020 was the development and launching of our 21 to 2024 strategic plan. This slide here attempts to depict for you the work we did online. So all those little photos there are folks on our board who all work together on endless meetings during 2020 to develop and launch our wonderful new strategic plan. It's climate change focused. It's a 3-year plan, and it's a framework for our work going forward to educate about and protect the Cayuga Lake and its watershed. And I'm not about to go into the whole strategic plan. You're welcome to look at it at our website under the About heading. This is just the beginning. Goal number 1, monitor the impacts of climate change on the watershed and lead the effort to engage the community and organize mitigation efforts. That's a big task. We're getting started on it. And this is my last slide. You'll see this information again, but there's a lot of ways for you to learn more about us. We have our website. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. You'll find this presentation and many others on our YouTube channel. And you can contact Jen to be added to our listserv. So thank you very much. Jen, ready when you are.
Thanks, Hilary. If you could stop sharing your screen, we will pull up the next presentation.
Yep.
Thank you. And next up are Ed and Nancy Currier to talk a little further about the Lake Friendly Living Program. Ed and Nancy, over to you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Welcome to Cayuga Lake Watershed Network and the Lake Friendly Living Program. Before we even start, we need to give credit to Erin Parazzini of the Soil and Water Conservation Department. She, with the Conservation Department, is helping to give us a new guide this summer. If you go on the website, you can see the guide. But this summer, it's going to be upgraded very shortly. And
next slide.
next slide.
You've seen this slide before. Hilary explained the vastness of the Cayuga Lake watershed and the importance for each one of us to do a small part in preserving the health of the watershed and the quality of water in Cayuga Lake.
Because what happens around your home matters. As one of the over 100,000 residents who use Cayuga Lake as a primary water source, you can make a difference in the water quality of Cayuga Lake. The Cayuga Lake watershed encompasses over 785 square miles where storm water runoff moves into the lake and impacts its water quality. Sediments can cloud water, affecting lake plants, fish, and other aquatic life. Sediments can form deltas that impede navigation and lake access. These sediments also create habitats where invasive species thrive. Pollutants include excess nutrients, bacteria, pathogens, and debris that can make water unsafe for drinking and swimming and disrupt healthy aquatic life.
So the question is, what is this stormwater runoff and what can we do about it? Residential properties generate runoff. When the rain falls, it's either infiltrated into the ground or hits impermeable surfaces such as rooftops, paved surfaces, where it cannot soak into the ground and move across the surfaces. So as it moves across the surfaces, it carries sediments and pollutants with it into the streams and eventually into the lake. Many times we are asked, so what can we do? Well, by starting to take the pledge to adopt lake-friendly living practices, we can help improve the quality of water that enters our beloved Cayuga Lake. Next. Our new guide focuses on 3 different levels that we can be involved with to help provide some best practices or adopt best practices that will help to improve water quality. As you look at the graphic, level 1 means to start with a pledge, and we'll detail how to get started with that pledge as we move forward. Once you have adopted some simple steps to help improve water quality by taking care of things around your own residence, you can become a Cayuga Lake Champion at level 2. Cayuga Lake Champion means that you then are ready to take on advanced practices such as creating water gardens, rain gardens, or constructing rain barrels and several other more involved improvements. And then at any point, we can all be level 3 folks, which involves caring for all of Cayuga Lake by taking action that is beyond our own residences. Next. So let's take a look at level 1. The theme for level 1 is to reduce and eliminate pollutants. This is where we will identify pollutant sources and modify your household habits. So one household habit that has a big impact on runoff is your lawn. First of all, we need to think about using good lawn care practices. First, we need to really know whether or not our lawn needs fertilizer. So to do that, we really need to test the soil first before we can feed it. So first off, know your soil's needs. Second, eliminate the use of lawn fertilizer or apply phosphorus-free fertilizer at the recommended rate. And on the side, on the bottom, actually on the top, we see a compost bin, which of course is something that many of us use to recycle vegetable waste from our home. So moving to the second photo, the lawn fertilizer, as you may well know, contains 3 numbers: nitrogen for the first number, phosphorus for the second, and potassium for the third. The middle number should be a 0 if you do actually need fertilizer at all. The 0 means that there's no phosphorus in that fertilizer, so that when the fertilizer does get absorbed and there's a potential for runoff, phosphorus is not a problem. Phosphorus is one of the main problems with algal blooms, or thought to be, and along with helping to deteriorate the water quality. The other easy thing to do is to mow less. Perhaps create no-mow zones or buffer zones and mow higher. Stick with 2.5 to 3 inches. It's healthier for your lawn. It causes more photosynthesis to happen in the blades of grass, creating better root systems. And when you have a thicker lawn, that impacts runoff as well. Cover those bare spots. Anything that can prevent erosion, soil loss, and sediment from entering the lake is good. And as far as Fido goes, scoop that dog poop, flush it, or place it in the trash. Keep soil, leaves, and lawn clippings out of trees, ditches, storm drains, streams, and the lake. Instead, place in biodegradable lawn waste bags, compost, or even better, mulch. If you're not using a mulching lawnmower, we encourage you to start that. If you are in a residential area where you have a concrete ditch that runs into a storm sewer, whenever you mow the lawn, please try not to blow the lawn clippings out into the street and leave them there. I know it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, but these things will run into storm drains. And where do storm drains go? They enter the nearest water body. And that lawn material that you have mowed becomes a source for bacterial decay. So those are some of the first level 1 areas of attention that you can deal with. And Nancy now will talk to you about reducing and eliminate pollutants in your household.
Reducing and eliminate pollutants in your household can help our lake. Use the smallest amount possible. Use non-toxic biodegradable products when possible. Follow instructions on labels. Store properly to prevent leaks or spills. Dispose hazardous waste at collection sites and events. And also do not flush prescription drugs.
So those are some simple starts leading up to starting with your pledge. The other simpler start is to reduce and eliminate pollutants by maintaining your vehicles, watercraft, and other RVs. Prevent fluids from leaking onto driveways or roads. So if you do change your own oil, catch those drips with a pan and use absorbent material like kitty litter to wipe up those spills and dispose of properly. Wash vehicles on the lawn versus impermeable surfaces, or use a car wash facility. Not only does washing vehicles on the lawn get the water soaked in, but it also helps to absorb soapy chemicals that could harm fish and water quality. And believe it or not, patronize your local car wash because they do recycle the water and the chemicals so that they don't end up in our water bodies. Moving on to reducing and eliminating pollutants. Next slide. Our septic systems should be evaluated regularly, keeping in mind checking out the drain field and knowing the signs of a failed system. We have a cross-sectional view of a septic tank there. If you're not familiar with that, this is all over our website in terms of what we can do about septic systems. Hilary mentioned that we are going to be investigating bacterial pollutants around the lake, and one of the possible causes might be inadequate septic system drainage. So there is a healthy system shown in the middle of the bottom of the page, and a drain field system over on the right-hand side. And notice that in your drain field, if it's working well, it does percolate through the ground. The excess drainage will percolate through the ground, soak into the groundwater, and hopefully be cleaned by the normal bacteria that live within the soil. So with that, we have one more slide that Nancy is going to speak to about what we can continue to do to minimize runoff at home.
First of all, we can use water wisely. Water when cool in the morning or evening to minimize evaporation. Adjust the sprinkler to cover only the lawn, not the hard surfaces such as a street or sidewalk. Install a rain sensor on an irrigation control so the system won't run when it is raining. Use drip irrigation for shrubs and trees to apply water directly to the roots. Use a broom instead of the hose to clean driveways and sidewalks. Spread a layer of organic mulch around plants to retain moisture. Choose drought-resistant vegetation and ground cover instead of hard turf to water areas like steep slopes.
Thank you, Nancy.
Level 2 is to become a Cayuga Lake champion. Capture and infiltrate your runoff before it reaches the lake. Implement permanent landscape improvements. Limit lawn size. Install a rain barrel. Plant native. Plant a rain garden.
On the graphics, you can see some of the situations where excess water just spills over the The gutters, if a rain barrel is installed, that water can be trapped in the rain barrel to be used for irrigation later. And there's a picture below there in the middle of native plants. Native plants have deep, deep root systems that can absorb runoff, absorb water much better than some of our non-native plants. On the right-hand side are cross sections of a shoreline that first shows how water is absorbed and how the water runs off. On the top section, it shows runoff water being absorbed by a number of plants and trees and shrubs. And at the shoreline, you can see that the plantings on the shoreline, this is called shorescaping, allow water to be absorbed so that very little of it gets into the lake. So if there are sediments and pollutants that are washed down the slope to the lake, that they are absorbed and trapped by the vegetation along the way. On the bottom half, if we hardscape instead of shorescaping, there's an increased amount of runoff, and that results in 20 to 30% surface runoff compared with if we shorescaped those surfaces. Next, continuing to become a Cayuga Lake champion. These are more advanced practices. Implement permanent landscaping improvements. In addition to the rain barrels and the native plantings and the rain gardens, one thing that can be done is to reduce those impermeable surfaces by minimizing erosion during new construction. If you look over on the right-hand side at the top, you'll notice some pavers that are put in place, pavers that are open. These are permeable pavers where the grass can grow in the spaces. If you have a driveway, instead of considering an asphalt pavement, crushed stone or these open pavers that allow grass to grow up in the middle are an excellent choice. At the bottom and on the side, this shows some construction taking place. Wherever there is construction taking place, buffers should be set up. You'll notice on the bottom right-hand corner is a plastic fence that prevents any construction sediments from washing into the lake. Back to minimizing erosion on the lakeshore area and increasing runoff infiltration. Install a natural vegetation buffer. Avoid hardening the shoreline with break walls or other hard materials. Natural vegetation should ideally cover up to 50 to 75% of the lake frontage. By restoring the shoreline with native plants, you can restore the ecological functions of a lake shore with many other benefits, including food and shelter for local wildlife, absorption of nutrients, deterrence of nuisance species, privacy from lake users, and save time and money in maintenance. Start investigating what native plants are actually growing on your property and see if you can plant other native plants along that gravel area. I know it's a little harder if you have a shale or a bedrock area, but think about the wave action and how the wave action washes material into the shore, onto the shoreline. And if you have native plants there that can absorb that energy and absorb any decaying material, all the more the better for the environment. We move on now to level 3. And once you have worked on anything, starting simple, but starting and then moving to more advanced practices, think about learning more and getting more involved with caring for Cayuga Lake. That's level 3. This broadens your outlook on things and helps to benefit water quality. Everyone in the watershed plays a role. And just to review, be aware of stormwater runoff. We already spoke about that and how we can help to control that stormwater runoff. Be aware of phosphorus, that natural element that's essential nutrient for plant growth. But even small amounts of phosphorus from stormwater runoff could have a devastating impact on water quality, because increased phosphorus stimulates algae growth and excessive plant growth. it's fertilizer for whatever's in the water. And Hilary already indicated the situation with harmful algal blooms. The cyanobacteria blooms, which are really not algae, they are bacteria and are likely to produce a range of chemical components, including toxins, can cause health concerns if touched, ingested, or inhaled. So the caring for Cayuga Lake is a big part of where you can move to next to become more and more involved.
If you
Level
learn
3,
more,
next.
if you learn more and get involved, everyone in the watershed plays a role. First of all, we need to prevent the spread of invasive species. We need to clean, drain, and dry. Before leaving the launch area, clean watercraft and equipment of all visible mud, plants, fish, and animals. Drain the motor, bilge, and live well, and dry everything that came in contact with the water. Use provided bins for proper disposal of aquatic hitchhikers. If you look at the pictures, you see the first one is water chestnut foliage, and that can go crazy if it's transported from one place to another. The second picture shows the water chestnut seeds, and they are very tiny and they can do a lot of damage. Third picture is hydrilla, which we are having a problem with, especially in the southern part of Cayuga Lake. Starry stonewort and European froglet are two different types of invasive species that we need to watch out for.
So even though you may not move your boat from place to place, please be sure that you take care of draining, drying, and cleaning the boat so that species do not get moved from one place to the other.
Show your
Next.
Show your support for lake-friendly living. Put up a lake-friendly living sign in your yard or on your door or car. Talk with your neighbors and residents about what you are doing and the simple things they can do to help protect and preserve Cayuga Lake. Share your results. Cayuga Lake Watershed Network wants to recognize your efforts and share your story. Please send photos to Cayuga Lake Watershed Network. Learn about key agencies and resources in the Cayuga Lake watershed. And you can go to cayugalake.org, Lake Friendly Living. Become a Cayuga Lake Watershed Network member by going to the website. Volunteer and join activities around the lake that help preserve and protect Cayuga Lake. And now let's go to our website to show you how to take the pledge.
Thank you. We'll turn it back over to Jen, who will take you to the website and show you how to be involved and how to take that pledge.
Thanks so much, Ed and Nancy. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our website. And as Ed and Nancy very clearly outlined, the Lake Friendly Living program is one that everyone can take advantage of, whether or not you live on the lake. So now that you have all this information, you're at level 1, 2, or possibly even 3. You know that you can implement some of these strategies, and you're wondering, how do I actually go about doing this? What does it mean to take this pledge, and how do I go about doing that? And as they mentioned in their presentation, you go right to our website, cayugalake.org/lake friendly living, and you will be greeted by this beautiful graphic and this lovely photo and our Lake Friendly Living information page. You'll scroll down, there'll be some maps, some information about Lake Friendly Living, a summary of those 12 practical and simple steps, which Ed and Nancy outlined in great detail for you, so you can get a little deeper on what each of those means and some of the strategies you can implement to make those happen. The program is simple. Take the pledge, you're almost there. And what you'll see here are a couple links for the Cayuga Lake Homeowners Guide, which is what Ed and Nancy mentioned will be updated very soon, as well as some smart steps for clean water, which is a little bit of a side project to the Lake Friendly Living program, but has very valuable information as well. And finally, down here, you will see this blue box that says take the pledge with a clickable link. Before you do that, if you want to take a look even further down at the bottom of this page, you can see some members and supporters of the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network who have already taken the pledge. And when you take the pledge, you can designate if you'd like your name listed on this page or not. No pressure whatsoever, but it is nice to be able to look down and see if maybe some of your friends and neighbors have already taken the pledge and committed to improving water quality on their property. So come back to take the pledge. You're going to click here. Scroll down here, you'll see this lovely red banner and you've arrived. So what it says, and this is an internal pledge, no one needs to know this but you, but the things you're committing to do are to make informed lawn care decisions, use phosphorus-free fertilizer applied properly, maintain your septic system, reduce household hazardous waste, maintain your vehicles and watercraft, work to develop a plan to reduce erosion and capture runoff, and use water wisely. All you'll do is enter your name and contact information on this page. This is the little box where you can designate if you want your name listed publicly or not. And also gives you the option if you'd like information on becoming a Cayuga Lake Watershed Network member and to receive Lake Friendly Living updates. Once you hit submit on this Take the Pledge, your little red button here, this is the final commitment. Your information goes right to Ed and Nancy Currier, who will send you a welcome letter along with a lovely car or home decal, which I'm going to show you shortly. And then we will follow up with you. If you're interested in becoming a member, we'll send you some membership information and add you to our distribution list for our monthly Lake Friendly Living newsletter, which arrives in your email electronically. So that helps you take the next step if you're ready to do so, to take the pledge. What I would like to do at this point as we wrap up our presentation is show you and talk a little bit about the Lake Friendly Living Coalition that has formed again during this COVID time. So the Lake Friendly Living Coalition of the Finger Lakes is comprised of 7 Finger Lakes associations who independently were running their own lake friendly living or lake friendly lawn care programs. And those lakes are beautifully detailed here on this map. You can see to the west, Canandaigua, down to the south, Cayuga, Seneca, Cayuga, Skaneateles, Owasco, and Atisco. We're all running programs, and we just thought we should get together and call ourselves the coalition. And our purpose is to educate and engage all the Finger Lakes residents, local governments, and businesses to adopt lake-friendly living practices that will help protect and preserve our lakes for sustainable water quality, recreational use, and business vitality from tourism. We just realized that we could do more together. And so in that effort, we decided to launch our Lake Friendly Living Awareness Week, which took place back on May 2nd through the 8th, 2021. And that information can be found at the Finger Lakes Regional Watershed Alliance.org page /Lake Friendly Living. If you visit the Regional Watershed Alliance page, what you will see is, what you will see there are a week's worth of webinars. There were 10 total that exemplify and put into practice many of the lake friendly living initiatives that you've heard about already today. You can see here, this is the full list, everything from an intro to lake friendly living, kind of what you heard today, to Doug Tallamy, who spoke about Nature's Best Hope, citizen science, hemlock woolly adelgid, aquatic invasive species, native planting, shore scaping, sustainable vineyards, a whole range of really interesting and informative presentations and webinars, which are free for you to view on our YouTube channel right now. You can see the link here to the left. Or if you go to YouTube and type in Cayuga Lake Watershed Network, you will arrive at our page on which we've uploaded all of these webinars that you can view at your convenience. It has everything from websites to visit to plants to purchase, ideas galore, as well as contact information for each of these speakers. So it offers a little something for everyone. I am happy to say that we do plan to offer another webinar series in 2022. And we will be sure to keep you informed as the coalition work develops. So, but the Lake Friendly Living program of the Cayuga Lake Watershed Network needs your help. We have set ourselves a mini goal of securing 100 new pledges to the Lake Friendly Living program by the end of the summer, which we're calling September 1st, although that's not technically the end of the summer. And we invite you to just go back to the network's Lake Friendly Living page that we just viewed, take the pledge today, share it with your friends, share it with your neighbors. And in return, so the program is completely free of charge as well. I don't know if we mentioned that, but there is no fee to join. And we will send you this lovely decal, which you can see here, which is quite large. It's actually about 4 inches round. And if you are interested, we will also send you this free yard sign, which is weatherproof, which is quite a bit larger. It's about almost 12 inches round, I believe, 10 to 12 inches. And you can affix it to a post on your property somewhere so that those who pass by can see the commitment that you've made to improve water quality and maybe encourage them to join up themselves. So we encourage you to just get in touch. Let us know if you have any questions or if there is anything further we can do to assist you in joining or learning more about the Lake Friendly Living program, the Lakeside Living in a Changing Climate, the Waterfront Living in a Changing Climate program, the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid, the Hydrilla hunters, our Habs Harriers, lots of different ways that you can connect with the network, get involved in your local community, improve water quality on your property and beyond, and feel a little bit more connected to the place in which you live. This slide just shows you all the ways you can get in touch with us. Hilary's email, my email, Ed and Nancy Currier's. Our Facebook page is listed there, Instagram. Hilary's always loading up beautiful photos and videos of all different places around Cayuga Lake. We do try to get around as best we can. And finally, we just wanted to say a sincere thanks to Kristen Moore, environmental educator with the Seneca Meadows Education Center, for her WOW series, the Women on Water series, of which this presentation is a part. And we are grateful for the opportunity to talk a little bit more about the network and to speak with you today. And with that, we will say goodbye until we connect again and wish you all a safe and happy summer season. Thanks so much for joining us today.